And we're going to talk to you about bloodstained men, bloodstained men and their friends on Facebook. That's our original social media founding location. That was in 2012. And in just a few weeks, on February 3rd, actually, we're going to be protesting at the Super Bowl in San Francisco, Super Bowl week. I'm going to talk to you about that schedule. I am Brother K, the founder of Bloodstained Men, coming to you live from Davis, California. We'll wait patiently for people to, I have no idea how this algorithm works. So I'll try this for a few minutes and I will move on if it doesn't appear to be hitting the algorithm. I've noticed that YouTube is a tough algorithm for our movement, intactivism, the social reform movement to stop infant circumcision in the United States. We want to stop infant circumcision in the United States. American doctors aren't helping us much. They're sitting on their hands. We've had doctors tell us, look, I'm not going to give up circumcising boys. I make an extra $75,000 or $100,000 a year for an hour a week. Would you work an hour a week? 52 weeks a year, 50 weeks? Would you work an hour a week for an income of $50,000 to $100,000? They go where the money is, and circumcision is easy money for these guys. The insurance, Paul, hello. Wonderful, thank you, Paul. But they make $100,000. They can make $100,000 a year. You figure it out. I've seen some insurance reimbursements for circumcision. Some insurance reimbursements are between $3,000 and $5,000 for a circumcision. 5 to 10 minutes of work. You know what some of these guys do? They empty out the office. They for the lunch hour, they empty out the office in the hour before lunch on a Friday, for example. And they will schedule 5 to 8 circumcisions during 1 hour. And they'll have little stations, assembly line. They'll have 5 or even 10 circumcision boards. They'll strap down all the babies. They'll go from one baby to another. They do the, it's like a nightmare. It's like a horror chamber, ladies and gentlemen. American doctors are putting our boys in horror chambers of genital mutilation. And most of the time, they tell themselves they're not injecting lidocaine into the boy's penis because it takes too long to work. The fact is that if you wait for lidocaine injections in a boy's penis to work, you've got to wait anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. The average doctor who uses lidocaine, and I'm going to tell you that most doctors don't even bother because of the reasons I'm explaining to you right now. They don't even bother giving the boys anesthetics. They give them some sugar water and they put a little Imla cream on their penis, but Imla cream is so dangerous that they can only use a little. And even if they put a tube of it on that poor boy's penis, it could kill him. Imla cream can kill a boy. That's why I've seen so many doctors saying, I find it's just easier for them to circumcise boys without anesthesia. And just let the poor guy howl. Most of them pass out. Most of them pass out from shock. Let's see. Hello, Johanna. MD Sohan says Happy New Year. Paul, yeah, Paul, we are going to be in, yep, I believe it's October 3rd. And Paul, we're going to be doing other protests in Southern California, but that's going to be the backbone of the protests. And we don't have that schedule out yet, but one schedule we do have, I've already reserved our group's hotel rooms for San Diego. We will be at the San Diego Convention Center, Bloodstained Men at the San Diego Convention Center on Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, for the annual convention of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Yeah, they won't remember it. Jimmy Hopkins, welcome. So these doctors, these greed merchants, these salespeople, these salesmen, the circumcision sales industry lives in American hospitals and medical clinics. They can circumcise 5 or 10 boys an hour, assembly line style. They don't bother with anesthesia. And if they do, they've got that as part of the assembly line. And they will circumcise anywhere from 5 to 8 boys in an hour, not one boy an hour, for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. That's how much the insurance companies reimburse them. Not one boy, not 2 boys. 5 to 8 boys an hour, ladies and gentlemen. It's human nature for these greed merchants. They're not doctors. They're butchers. They're butchers. They wear a stethoscope. Big fucking deal. They hide behind stethoscopes. And I'm not going to get started on, I don't have time to get started on that because I want to talk to you about our Super Bowl protest coming up. But I just posted several days ago, you can't post texts on this social media, on YouTube. So I posted this text on Twitter X, and my Facebook pages, that Dan Bollinger of the Intact America Advisory Committee published an article in which he said nurses report that doctors, having observed, nurses report that these guys get hard-ons. They get erections when they're circumcising boys. Do you understand what that means, ladies and gentlemen? And that's long been anecdotal among the medical community, that there's a sexual component to the libido of these creeps in stethoscopes who are circumcising the penises of our newborn sons, of our nation's men, ladies and gentlemen. You yourself know how it seemed like a long time at the time when you were growing up. But in retrospect, you look back on your childhood and it went by in a blink. And you've got another, God willing, another 40, 50, 60 years of life. So once they circumcise you, that's it. You are circumcised for life, cradle to the grave. Jay says, if circumcision is so great, how come they can't? Yeah, of course. It's all bullshit, 24/7. Every excuse for circumcision is fake to make it seem rational. They have pulled a fast one on the American people, ladies and gentlemen. And you've got some of these men that are so angry at their parents. They say, oh, I don't blame doctors. I blame my parents. Doctors did it, ladies and gentlemen. Doctors have done this to our nation, not parents. The parents are just dupes and suckers. And of course, once doctors were successful in circumcising one generation of Americans, then human nature kicks in, and you have the poor dads. Circumcised men are in a lose-lose position. If you say, go ahead, I want my son to look like me, it sounds insane. Or that circumcision is cleaner, it sounds insane. And of course, they say in the countries, cultures where they circumcise girls, they say the same thing. I said, I want my daughter to be circumcised like me. My grandmother was circumcised. My mother was circumcised. I'm circumcised. It's cleaner. They say it. They say it. I've been researching this thing since the middle of the 1970s, ladies and gentlemen. I first protested circumcision at the California state capitol, Sacramento, just a stone's throw from where I'm sitting right now, Davis, California. We're basically a suburban community, but it's less than half an hour for me to drive from my house to the state capitol in Sacramento. So Carol Babiak and I protested at the California state capitol in fall of 1980. I made the national news, and we did our part toward getting this movement going. Paul says, I am restored. It's what we can do to get back what they took. Yes. And same here, Paul. I've been restoring for, I believe, 7 years now. Men and women who have a man in your life, you can find out more about foreskin restoration. It does work. It doesn't replace the foreskin, but it's an incredible improvement. Paul would probably agree with me that it improves the sensation by probably 70 to 80%, if not more. And there's nothing surgical about it. It's you know how people they stretch their earlobes, or the cultures where they do that whole thing where they stretch the lips. Your remnant of foreskin can stretch. And the good thing is that the more you stretch, every new bit of growth of your foreskin includes the original, the remnant of your foreskin that has those nerve endings that are still there. And that's why circumcised men do derive a lot of pleasure from sex. And that's the vile trick of the circumcision industry. And men will say, well, I still enjoy sex, so I'll circumcise my son. But listen, I'm on the Bloodstained Men, and I hear all kinds of horror stories from circumcised men, normally circumcised men. But if the doctor takes just a millimeter too much, or injures, or takes out the frenulum, in other words, there's no cut here line. Back to what I was saying, these doctors have no incentive. Let's see, Paul says, I will have to ask you in person later this year, how did you find out Cirque was bad? I had no idea until I saw the Penn and Teller show in 2006. Paul, I when I was 20 or 21 years old, a senior at the University of Illinois, I read Gore Vidal's book, Myra Breckenridge, in which he launches into a rant against circumcision, and that planted the seed in me. And then in the early 70s, I started looking into it because I had good sex with Caroline Babiak, with the woman I love. She died just last year on May 13th. So we're coming up on a year of her death this year. She and I were together for 55 years, and she heard what I told her. I said, I don't understand it. We have this good sex, and when I pull out, there's just a strange sensation in the head of my penis. It just feels really weird. And I now know that was the missing foreskin. You're not supposed to be missing a foreskin, ladies and gentlemen. Dylan, welcome. So back to the financial incentive for these guys to circumcise boys. If you circumcise, let's just take the conservative estimate. You circumcise 5 boys in an hour and you get paid, reimbursed by the insurance company. Let's take the low ball, $3,000. That's $15,000 for 1 hour of 1 hour of work that week. That's $60,000. There's no limit to how much these guys can make circumcising boys. They just have to put in the time. So we've heard these guys say, I have to circumcise. I need the income. And this is on top of their regular income. But the average circumciser, now this figure goes back probably 10 years, so counting for inflation, the average circumciser for 1 hour a week makes anywhere from $75,000 to double that, $150,000. And depending on the insurance reimbursement, it can be phenomenal. It can be several $100,000 a year. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Jay says, I never had an orgasm, no feeling because of Jay, let me tell you, one of my most memorable, because I've met so many men through this movement who have been injured beyond the norm. The normal circumcision is an injury. But I have met one man, he's a big man, he's a big, strong man. You could even say he's macho, just in the manly way. He's like 6'3", all muscle, fit, buff. He wept in my arms. He came out to meet me and the Bloodstained men some years ago. He wept in my arms and he said, Brother K, I can't have sex. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. That's what he said. And the man that's currently on our road crew, Dwayne, you can meet Dwayne in San Francisco with me and Dwayne and the rest of the road crew. Dwayne's not hiding it. Dwayne is at Dwayne Van Lanker, another big man. I'm 6 foot tall. He's a few inches taller than me. If you look up Dwayne Van Lanker, I think he's now on TikTok. I don't know if he's on YouTube. Jonathan Campos, that's a name I recognize from a long time. You've been around for a long time, Jonathan. Thank you. The more I learn about what was done, the ignorant parents who say they suffered, the men who say oh, yeah, and happy to be cut. The anger instead I hate being, that's the problem. It's not like in life, we're so used to, a problem comes our way, we solve it and move on. But circumcision is a problem with no solution. Once they cut you, you're screwed. I'm sorry to hear that, Jonathan, but thank you for speaking out on the internet. I think you were one of my earliest friends on Facebook. He doesn't feel much either. Oh, hello. I believe that would never guess how much he suffered. Yeah, that's not one more innocent. I hate not being, I don't want to use your name, not one more innocent, because I think I'm fairly confident that I know who you are, and thank you for your work. And he too, not one more innocent, will be on the road crew with Bloodstained Men in a few weeks. But Dwayne Van Lanker, you can meet him. He's very, very outspoken about it and enraged, but he's taken his anger and his pain and converted it into a force for good, doing something productive. This is a social reform movement. Our critics say, oh, shut up, get a life, get over it, quit whining. Fuck you. That's what I say to our critics. Fuck you. You never say that shit to me in person, and you won't, because you'll feel my wrath. We are social reformers to make the world a better place because we care about society. You don't. Our critics, you don't give a shit. You literally don't give a shit. You're all pious and you hide behind whatever it is you hide behind. Your stethoscopes. I'm circumcised and I'm fine. If you defend circumcision, fuck you. Dwayne Van Lanker has been very outspoken, very outspoken. He's on the Bloodstained Men road with big man, all muscle, and he can't feel anything. He can't feel anything. Jonathan Campos says, I feel like I am not good enough and I'm jealous of intact guys. they have the choice. I'm trying to live with it and get over it. Jonathan, write to our, if you want to protest with Bloodstained Men, write to our director of recruiting, Matt Kinnison. Thank you, Lucas. Lucas says, what's the worst type of circumcision? Probably the, oh man, that's like, they're all bad. The worst type is when the guy that's cutting you is either hungover or is having a bad day, and he takes 1 millimeter, a couple of millimeters can make all the difference between going through life, not even being able to feel anything, and getting enough pleasure out of sex. Because the doctors have learned how to leave just enough so that it still feels good to have sex, which was my case. But what got me to critiquing circumcision was not that I didn't enjoy sex, although I know in retrospect that, yes, I've been denied a lot of pleasure. But what got me thinking about it was, why did my penis feel weird after good sex? Why did my penis feel weird after good sex? That's what got me to thinking about it in the early 70s when I was in my early 20s. And eventually led me and Caroline Babiak, who talked over all that. She was amazing. She was amazing, and she helped me figure this out. I couldn't have done it without her wisdom and her advice, her compassion. And we have a lot of, by the way, we have a lot of compassionate women in this movement. And they are deeply, deeply disturbed that so many women support the circumcision of American men. They're really upset about it. And we've got we're gonna have 3 women on our road crew in a couple of weeks in San Francisco. And on social media, I've seen the figures, at least from Facebook. Now I've seen some figures from, can't remember, it might be from Instagram. But on Facebook, most of the intactivists and our supporters are women. 75% are women, 25% are men. But I believe it was Instagram. I recently saw the analytics, and I think it was like reversed. It was 75% men and 25% women. But I think that shifts too. Taj Raheen says, I was retaining for relief. Then I saw your live in my feed, having trouble restoring, but I'll keep going. I think it's pronounced Taj. Taj, listen, I used a device for the first 3 years of restoring my foreskin. Now, I don't use a device. I just use manual tugging. I'll show you. And honestly, like, you know, I take a leak 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. Every time I take a leak, I do like 10 seconds of a tugging. And the way I tug is, let's say, I didn't plan this so you can see it. I found an oven mitt here near me, but I do a grip. Let's see. Say this is the foreskin. Say this is my foreskin. I take a leak, and I pull my foreskin back over the glands. So what you're looking at is my restored foreskin. Then I keep this circular grip with my forefinger and thumb. I keep that below the glands because you don't want to do manual tugging by pulling your penis away from its root. So I just keep a grip there, and then I take the other forefinger and I put that around the restored foreskin. And you don't want to do it hard. It just gentle tension, just gentle tension like that. See, and so that way you're not pulling on your penis from its root. You've got it safely grasped right there. with those fingers, and then you just gently, and you can even do it like that. This is the restored foreskin. You just gently do it like that. Yeah, and you'll get a little piss after. Yeah, so I do it. I do this for 10 or sometimes 20 seconds. I might do it when I get up in the morning after I take. But literally, I'm making as much progress, if not more. I mean, I don't have a ruler to measure it, but when I stand in front of the bathroom mirror after a shower, I look like an intact man. I don't look circumcised. I even have the little wrinkly, probably remnants of the ridged band. I have that. Not much, but it's growing. It's growing. So I'm just doing it. I just do it like that. And that's the way to do it. I mean, for me, and that's what I would advise, because nobody wants to wear a device. It's, I mean, the whole thing sucks. So foreskin restoration is probably best achieved. Maybe in the beginning you need a device, but best achieved once you have enough. Once you have enough to pull your restored foreskin over your glands, take a leak, and like that, just not a terrible tension. I mean, a gentle tension. You'll feel it. You'll be able to figure out how much tension to use, but that works. It really does. And I'm making as much, if not more, progress in restoring my foreskin through manual tugging. And you can look that up on the internet. There's norm.org, National Organization of Restoring Men, norm, NORM.org. There's also one, just type in manual tugging into Google, and there's a website that comes up. I think that's done by Restoring Tally. I just don't recall. All Things New says, but I do manual tugging with my finger. Yeah, I think that's essentially what I'm describing. All Things. Lucas says, if you don't mind, what type of circumcision they... Yeah, no, they used a Gomco clamp on me. And I started restoring late. I started Bloodstained Men in 2012. I didn't start restoring until I believe it was 2018. After a man in Oklahoma City, he said to me, Brother K, are you restoring? And this is what I said to him, because this is what I thought. I said, no, I don't have enough left to work with. Because my operating hypothesis, I mean, I had tried to restore with a tape back in the early 1980s, and that was just, that does not work. And so, but that gave me kind of like a permanent negative vibe or feeling about restoring my foreskin. And then when I heard all the young men were restoring, when I formed Bloodstained Men, I thought, well, maybe they probably all got what's called a loose circumcision. I just assumed they probably got loose circumcisions where they had more to work with. But I had a stand. I think when I finally got serious about it. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. So this guy Rodney in Oklahoma City, he said, Brother K, you're restoring. I said, no, I don't have enough to work with. And he said to me, can you take the foreskin that you have left and pucker it over the head of your penis, over your glands? And I said, yeah. He said, well, then you can restore. And that's when I thought, wow, I guess I can. And I went home and ordered the DTR, dual tension restore. And I've used a few other devices over that 3-year period when I was using device. I used Anthony Squadro's Air Force expansion device. I used Ron Lau's device. But my favorite, my preferred, and for comfort mainly, and what I believe was probably achieved the best results for me was the DTR, dual tension restore, which again, you can see that, just Google it and it'll come right up. Hey, Jessica, Ocean Birth. Jessica, I hope we see you in San Francisco in a few weeks, and I'm going to go over. Um, Jonathan, um, you asked me what do I think of the company. I don't want to get into that too much, but let me tell you this. I studied psychobiology in graduate school. I studied psychobiology, and we had a whole course on anatomy, the anatomy of the spinal cord. And once nerves are severed in the spinal cord, when they circumcise you, they're severing nerves. They might not sever them directly in the spinal cord, but your foreskin nerves go right through the spinal cord. So when you sever those nerves, you're severing the nerves in the spinal cord. And there is no way to connect that again. Those severed nerves form, there's a scar, I think it's called a neuroma, scar neuroma. That's how the body has to deal with things. So I'll use this glove again. I know I used it before from my foreskin, but let me give you an example. So they cut off, they amputate your foreskin. Okay. So now I'm gonna represent this. This is gonna be the remaining penis. So here's your original foreskin. Okay. They cut it off, and let's go around here. Okay. So that's everything above here is severed, amputated. All of that connected to the brain, to a specific location in the brain through the fucking spinal cord. So when you sever that, you are severing the connection between that part of the penis. I mean, there's still a lot of it that's connected to the spinal cord, but this is the nerve-rich part. That goes directly to the spinal cord. It's gone. So those spinal cord nerves are severed. So the short way of answering your question is there is no way to connect those severed nerves back to the brain. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. So you can create a new foreskin and try to reconnect it, but you're not going to be able to reconnect those thousands of nerves that have been amputated, have been killed in their connection to the brain. Can't be done. Can't be done. And I don't care what kind of fast talking, slick talking salesman tells you, there is no science. I had a friend who was in a car accident in the late 60s in college. And he was in a wheelchair. He was what's called a paraplegic because his spinal cord was severed from the waist down. And he said the government is spending, he held out his hopes. He thought he might walk again. He said, I might be able to walk again someday. He said the government is spending millions and millions of dollars on spinal cord repair. I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, some things cannot be repaired. When you die, you can't be repaired. You're dead. When you cut off the foreskin and you leave, this is the foreskin up to here, and you leave actually we can call this the glands, and you leave the glands is now the tip of your penis, the head of your penis. This is gone. This is gone, and there is no fucking way in heaven, earth, or eternity that can be repaired. When you're dead, you're dead. When you sever spinal cord nerves, which is what circumcision, those nerves are dead. They cannot be reconnected to anything. But I had my friend in college, he held out hope that he would be able to walk again. He said the government is spending millions of dollars on foreskin, on spinal cord regeneration. Now, in 10,000 years, are they going to be able to? The problem is once you scar the end of a nerve, It's inaccessible. That nerve dies. And Ocean Birth is Jessica, and we met her on tour a couple years ago. It says circumcision is a tragedy for it. Absolutely is. It absolutely is. And the people against circumcising girls agree. They agree that circumcising girls is a tragedy. They don't trivialize it. They say that when you circumcise a girl, you are destroying her in so many ways for life. For life. But magically, the circumcision industry in the United States proclaims, we know how to do it. We know how to do it without injuring the boy. They are total bullshitters. Total bullshitters. Doctors who circumcise are the most greedy, corrupt, depraved perverts out there. Jonathan Campos says, it makes me hate religion so much more. Well, I've seen George Carlin's work. George Carlin hated circumcision, and he hated the ideologies that brought it, which I think he felt strongly that the founding ideology behind circumcision was religious-based. But that's true for circumcising girls too. The people that circumcise girls didn't just pluck it out of nowhere. It's part of their religious beliefs. And the people who circumcise girls, they're honest about it. They say, we circumcise all our children. All children need to be circumcised. And they cut the same body structure off. The prepuce, the foreskin, the clitoral hood, and the penile hood are homologous structures, identical, just different in shape and form, but not in structure or function. And women understand that very well. They know that the power of just a little motion with the fingers over the clitoral hood. And men who are circumcised have never known that the pleasure that comes from just a slight movement of the fingers with the foreskin. That's why the horse and buggy doctors started circumcising boys. You see these jokesters who say, well, it didn't stop me from circumcising. Yes, it did, bro. It just delayed it. You're not going to find a 5-year-old boy who can masturbate without a foreskin. So when you circumcise a boy, you are delaying the onset of masturbatory activity. That's just a fact. But 5-year-old boys and 5-year-old girls throughout history, and mammals, quickly learn the feel-good part of their genitals. Nature gave you the ability to give yourself pleasure. There's little enough of it in life. But these beasts, these horse and buggy butchers, parents were upset. I caught little Johnny pleasuring himself, having fun. And they said it. They put it in their medical journals. We know how to solve that. We cut off his foreskin. Boom, problem solved. A young boy can't masturbate without a foreskin. So don't toss out your glib bullshit. Didn't stop me. Yes, it did. It stopped you when you were 5. It stopped you when you were 6. It stopped you when you were 7. Boys and girls masturbate. They learn the feel-good part of their genitals early in life. And women, you know what I'm saying. You know it's true. You're too harsh on tissue regeneration. It may restore much feeling and function, but the brain and nerve damage are done. After amputation, the brain and nerves do the best they can to rewire themselves, but there's nothing for the nerves to reconnect on the brain. Exactly. So, but again, I don't want to go on about that, but I think Jonathan Campos, who asked the question. I'm not the one to take hope away from circumcised men, but if you want to achieve real results here and now, rather than waiting for some pie in the sky in the future from some fantabulous inventor who claims they know how to fix it with science. If you want to achieve real-time results now, restore your damn foreskin. You got nothing to lose. And if you're a young man, you're in luck, because I went home after that man in Oklahoma City said to me, "Have you tried to restore?" I went home and started and just I did about 5 or 10 minutes of manual tugging a day. This is like within weeks, when I didn't yet have a foreskin restoration device. And I saw, after a week, I actually saw like a microscopic growth of my foreskin. I was like, holy shit, it works. I can do it. It was microscopic, but I could tell the difference. I mean, at that point, I was 72 years old. So I started restoring when I was 72 years old. And it works. I just wish if I'd known about it when I was a kid, I'd have started when I was a kid. So if you're still a young man, yeah, it might seem like a hassle, but you don't have any reason not to. Every time you take a leak, spend 10 or 20 seconds manual tugging, and you'll see results. You'll see results, and then you can get a device if you want. But manual tugging on its own is very, very productive. Lucas says, do you remember the most hypocritical post from the American Academy of PIs asking how we should? Yeah, consent. One of my friends on Facebook, maybe she got it from somewhere, but it's a Dara on Facebook. If you see this video, Dara, she said, if you want to teach consent, practice consent. If you want to teach consent, practice consent. Circumcision of a newborn boy is the ultimate act of disrespect, deprivation of human rights. It is an abomination. Jessica earlier in this broadcast used the word tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy to circumcise a girl or a boy. I'm getting hot here. We had dinner with the Minneapolis. They came out and protested with us. National Coalition for Men. They gave me this sweatshirt, which I like. And they are against circumcision and support us. Connor, let's see. I'm 21 years old, and I'm sorry to hear that, Connor. Yeah, not even the U.S. in Canada, yeah, because doctors recommended it just because my parents wanted me to look better. But if I ever have a kid, good, thank you. And that's what it takes, Connor. As a man, and I'm not speaking to Connor now, I'm speaking to all of you and to the public at large. As a man, as a circumcised man, you got to have the balls. You got to have the balls to be better than what circumcision planned for us. They figured you'd just be another robot in the circumcision army. In the army of men who said, well, I'm circumcised and I turned out fine and I want my son's dick to look like mine. And it's for health benefits. One of my friends says it's like they have a factory that puts out these robots, these circumcised robots that are programmed with about 10 different phrases. And one of them, I'm circumcised and I turned out fine. I want my son to look like me. I want my son to get blowjobs. Fuck you. Grow a pair of balls. Okay, Jessica says phone. Yeah, I've actually got my phone plugged into a power bank because I know exactly what you mean, Jessica. Um, Not one more innocent says I was C1. Yeah, that's where I started too. C1. Factually, maybe you're not saying C1, but with that chart, I know I use that chart, and I was C1. So you're saying C1. Oh, okay. You're seeing okay. Okay, circumcision index 0. Okay, so you were 0. I was CI1 when I started restoring. Now oh, cool. Yeah, 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 yeah. You blew. Not one more innocent is one of our road crew, and we had a Southern California YouTuber. I can't think of his name at the moment, but he not one more innocent told him that he was restored, and they were filming. Yeah, Jessica's getting her power bank. What was that guy's name? YouTuber from Southern California. But at any rate, he was blown away when he saw that, and he put this in his YouTube video, that a restored man looks like an intact man. But you got to have the balls. You got to have the balls. It takes balls, because it's hard mentally. You see it with some of the stuff Jonathan Campos would say. It's depressing. It's depressing. But what I'm saying is you turn those fuckers on their heads. If you want to fuck them up good, fuck them in their circumcision devices, fuck the Gomco clamp, fuck them all. We can take revenge on these fuckers who are circumcising our sons. This is a noble revenge. This is the revenge of justice. This is a just revenge. We stop them. We put them out of business. We put them out of business. They are making a living cutting the penises of newborn boys. We put those fuckers out of business. And I always add, within the law and peaceful. Because you see how society works. A social reform movement must be peaceful, legal, law-abiding, but that doesn't mean we have to respect those fuckers. It doesn't mean we can't come at them with every bit of wit, intelligence, science, outrage, and conscience that we possess. We put them out of business. We put the penis cutters out of business. How dare they? How dare they? How dare they do this to our sons? Backpack Matt. That's my friend Matt. Welcome, Matt. Jay says, tried restoring, not much different. I was really disappointed. Mine is nerve damage. Jay, look. Talk to the people at NORM, NORM.org. Talk to them. But again, I'm not an expert in foreskin restoration. All I can do is go back to what this man said to me in Oklahoma City that set the light bulb off in my head. If you can take the foreskin that was left after circumcision, and you can still, because the foreskin, even the foreskin remnant that you have is stretchable. The foreskin is that's one of its magical features. If you can take your remnant of foreskin and let's say this is the head of a circumcised penis, but if you can take the remnant of foreskin and and pull it over the head of the penis so that it's like that. So under tension, you're holding it. It won't stay there. It just pops right back if you let go. But if you can take the foreskin that you have left below the corona of your penis, if you can take that and pull it over the head of your penis, you can restore. And I know you have nerve damage. They probably, I think I was left with a little nub of frenulum, and I think they try to do that with most men, the babies they're circumcising. But if they cut off your entire frenulum, and you still can pull the remaining foreskin over the head of the penis, it's possible that you do have some more additional nerve loss, because the frenulum is the really intense part of the inner foreskin. But if you can take, I know you're pessimistic and depressed about it, and like, fuck it, I can't hassle with it. And I can understand that. And in fact, that's why I gave up the idea of restoring my foreskin back in the 1980s, just because the first method I tried, which was the early method, I've seen other people talk about that early method of using tape, medical tape. But if you can just stick to it, if you can stretch enough of your remaining foreskin over the head of your penis, if you stick to it, I think you will achieve results that are better than your current situation, even though it does sound like you suffered more nerve damage than the average man does. I mean, every circumcision causes nerve damage. So we're just talking about degrees. And unfortunately, they're probably, my ballpark figure for the men who have been severely sexually disabled by circumcision is probably 5 to 10% of men, just from all the men I've talked to over the years and the social media posts I've seen. So 1 out of 10 men are injured beyond the normal injury. The normal injury leaves you with enough that sex still works and still feels good. But there's 10% of men, give or take a few percentage points, who have suffered even beyond that. They derive very little, if any, sexual sensation from sex. What was the worst experience I had with being arrested in Tuscaloosa? No question about that. Being arrested in Tuscaloosa really was, that was hard. That was hard. Ahmad is here. I'm assuming from your name that you come from a religion of the Middle East background, which that the people who circumcise girls are, for the most part, from that religion, unfortunately. And when they circumcise girls, they always circumcise boys. It's the same thing, and they don't have separate words for it. Like in the United States, the people who are in favor of male circumcision wanted to make sure that no one misunderstood them when they came out against girl circumcision. So they thought, well, we can't just say we got to stop circumcision of girls. That sounds too much like sexism, that we want to stop circumcision of girls, not of boys. So they thought, well, we got to rebrand it. We got to call circumcision of girls female genital mutilation, which is an anthropological term. They got that term from anthropology. What they conveniently leave out is that anthropologists also use the term male genital mutilation for male circumcision. So the people that wanted to stop circumcision in the United States built 2 circumcisions. Boy circumcision, which they conveniently ignore, anthropologists call male genital mutilation, and girl circumcision, which anthropologists call female genital mutilation. And they went with that, and they stuck with circumcision for boys and female genital mutilation for girls, so they could ignore that one, ignore male circumcision, and female circumcision. Yeah, we got to stop that. We got to stop that. Let's call it female genital mutilation and get all the women on board and the men on board. You see men posting on social media, oh, it's so much worse what they do to girls. Bullshit. It ain't much worse what they do to girls. Actually, it's much less. It's much less. The average female circumcision cuts off a piece of the clitoral hood. Yeah, some of them cut off the entire clitoral hood, which is the same as cutting off the entire penile hood. So even at its worst, girl circumcision is identical in destructive force, in amputative destruction. Female circumcision is identical to male circumcision. But in practice, the average female circumcision can be cutting off a piece of the clitoral hood the size of a grain of rice, or what they call the ritual nick. Yeah, Neo Relic says end all circumcision. Let me see, I saw some comments before. Let me see if I can go back and address them. I can't remember. I've tried to address everyone. Yeah, we'll be in San Diego in October. We'll be at the San Diego Convention Center on October. I mean, I've got my Super Bowl schedule up here, which I'm going to talk to you about. Zeus says, what is the topic of this stream? It's newborn male genital mutilation, also known as infant penis sacrifice or newborn infant penis circumcision in the United States, in American hospitals and medical clinics. The rest of the world doesn't do that, by the way. We're all alone in that. I'm just making sure. Stick Raccoon, thank you. Thank you. What's the worst type of circumcision? What they call a tight circumcision, where there's no cut hairline. There's no perforation. So the worst type of circumcision, I mean, if you've got to be circumcised, the worst type is where they cut too much off. But that's just a matter of degrees. They're all bad. They're all wicked. They're all evil. Leonard Glick said it. Professor Leonard Glick said it. The circumcision of children, boys and girls, is fundamentally evil. That's Dr. Leonard Glick, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't think I saw that one. All Things News says, my penis hurts every day from a very invasive circumcision. I'm sorry to hear that. Pain and discomfort every day that I have to wear a manhood for relief. I'm sorry to hear that. And I have, I've seen that manhood advertised, and I've seen posts about it. It's like, yeah, it's a covering. Yeah. By the way, and I don't believe there's been any science or any study of it, but before I restored my penis, not in all weather, but depending on how I was dressed or the environment, the head of my penis was cold. That was just what it felt like, cold, physically cold. When I restored and my penis is, the head of my penis is now covered, it's always warm, which is what it's supposed to be like that. There really should be a study, and I've suggested this to a few of the prominent intactivist scientists in our movement, that we should measure the temperature, the average temperature of the head of the penis in a circumcised man, and the glands of the penis in an intact man. I mean, it makes sense, and I know it from experience. The head of my penis was often significantly colder. It felt cold, so significantly colder than my body temperature, whereas an intact man never has that experience. Maybe if they're out in the Arctic climbing, the mountains, but they get frozen everywhere. They get frostbite. But this, I can attest to this, and I know it's a fact. but it's too bad the scientists haven't picked up on it. But the circumcision industry won't fund that. They won't fund such an investigation. The glands, the head of the circumcised penis, is consistently colder than the glands, the head of an intact penis. Period. I'm just going back over the comments because I thought I noticed I thought I missed one. Yeah, Taj. Yeah, please just try manual tugging. Oh, okay. Yeah. Jonathan Campos says, my mom tried to justify it by saying Jesus was circumcised and it was good enough for him. I said Jesus was also stripped, half naked, and beaten within an inch of his life. Should I do that to my boys? I hate it when people try to cloud the issue with religion. Because look, if your mom believed that her religion required circumcision, then take you to a priest. Take you to a priest, not a doctor. Doctors don't do religion. Doctors don't do religious surgery. So you tell your mom, look, if your religion made you circumcise me, how come you didn't take me to a priest? Doctors do not do religion. I have no slack skin, but I do manual tugging with my fingers, says all things. Okay, good. Yeah, just keep at it, really. Look, we have one life to live. I'm 78 years old, and God willing, I'm going to start counting my end days when I'm 100. So in other words, right now, my operating hypothesis is that I have another 22 years of life. So, and I mean, no one can guarantee anything, but when I hit 100, then I can't take I can't take tomorrow for granted. Not that I'm taking 22 years for granted, but you understand what I mean. No one wants to think, oh man, I got another year I got about another year of life and that's it. No, I don't think we're programmed to think like that. I mean, unfortunately, circumcision does fuck you up. Circumcision is the cause of depression, suicide, antisocial behavior. My God, how much antisocial behavior is coming from rage and trauma that American men are growing up with? We don't know how much, but it would be foolish to say none. And it's one of those psychological conundrums. But an honest, rational person cannot deny that severe genital trauma on a newborn child that persists for various reasons, persists all during childhood and into adulthood, because that is the permanent state of the denuded, amputated, foreskin amputated penis. How much antisocial behavior? We can't know how much, but anyone who says, nah, they are full of shit and they are bluffing and they're a fucking liar. They just are. Yeah. Not one more innocent says circumcision is mass criminal insanity. Taj says, thanks, very helpful. Here's David, Sick Society. Oh, good to see you, David. And David Wilson is going to be with us. SIC Sick Society, that's a Stop Infant Circumcision Society. It's David Wilson. He says, I've been doing that same technique. I'm loose, but not there. 8 ways to go still. And David, I've got the Super Bowl schedule up, and I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to be here for a few more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. All Things News says, I suffered from pre-verbal PTSD all my life from the circumcision trauma since birth. Everything was amputated. Really barbaric. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Ocean Burst says, are you coming to... no, I had not heard about Klopper's conference in Los Angeles in April. But Jessica, we are going to be touring. We have a New England tour coming up. We don't have the schedule ready yet for it, but our planner, David Atkinson, is working on it, even as we talk now. We're going to be in Boston and numerous cities in Massachusetts in late April, early May, and we'll have that schedule up on our website, certainly by the end of this month, I would think. But no, I had not heard about Klopper's conference coming up. Yeah, Ocean Birth, that's Jessica Rannick says, I think the function is damaged more in MGM than FGM. Well, yeah, because the most common female circumcision, at least in our day and age, I can't speak for 100 years ago, but it's what's called the ritual nick. They scrape the girl's clitoris. They might scrape away a little bit of mucous membrane, or sometimes they actually cut off a piece the size of a grain of rice. That's the most common female circumcision in the world. Yeah, someone is saying, innocent, not one more innocent, says he despises the religions who preach circumcision. Yeah, I just want to get through these comments, and then I'm going to go over the schedule with you. Oh yeah, Danny Mullen. Yeah, not one more innocent. Reminds me, I was telling you that Danny Mullen, who is the Southern California podcaster, he filmed Bloodstained Men in Santa Cruz, and was blown away when one of our road crews showed him his restored foreskin. Because when you're restored, you actually look like an intact man. Backpack Matt. I'm assuming that's my friend Matt. All right, so let me go to the bottom here now. Circumcision, Jay says, circumcision has till this day been the cause. Oh, okay, I read that earlier. Anger and depression. Yeah, so this is a social reform movement. We're all angry. We're all angry. Even the intact men are angry. We have intact men in this movement. They're angry because they know, but for the grace of God, it could have been them. They were spared due to various things. Some of them were born premature. In those days, doctors didn't circumcise premature boys. Now they do. Or they often do. Andrew Almada. What needs to happen is that this issue has to be brought to the Supreme Court to decide whether circumcision is constitutional. Yeah, but it's not going to happen right now, Andrew. The closest we came to it was when we had the female circumcision. When we had the female circumcision, I was just plugging my power bank into a different port. The closest we came was when we had the female circumcision case in Detroit a few years ago. And that's actually why the judge threw the case out of court and ruled that the law, the federal law against female circumcision was unconstitutional. The reason he did that was because the defense for female circumcision was going to be, the foundation of their defense was going to be that our country, our nation, our doctors accept and practice male circumcision, which is much more destructive than what this accused doctor was doing to girls. And that's perfectly legal. And so when the judge saw that, he was like, holy shit, this is going to be, and that would have ended ended up in the Supreme Court. That would have ended up in the Supreme Court. So Andrew, we missed a good opportunity, and that's why the judge did throw it out, because he knew it would end up in the Supreme Court, and the issue was just too fraught with constitutional ambiguity. That how can you outlaw female circumcision while there's a much more invasive amputation occurring to boys, and yet that's accepted. Lucas says, do you have the video of this arrest? Yeah, but I right now, all I can tell you is if you go into Google, al.com, alabama.com, I think it's called al.com, and type in circumcision, Alabama circumcision, something, it's out there. I'm not sure what it is. If you're on Facebook, email me, message me on Facebook, or you can email me at info at bloodstainedmen.com, and I'll get that for you. You can email me at info at bloodstainedmen.com, and I'll get that for you. Chris says, thank you, Chris. I spread the truth to circumcision actually increases STI. It sure does. Yep. Yeah, the 2018 Michigan FGM case. Yep. Here's Lily of the Valley. What matters most is where we will spend eternity, heaven or hell. Well, I don't know what your religious beliefs have to do with this issue at hand. So you will have to search your own conscience as to whether you feel that you've addressed it, but I don't feel you have. Yeah, thank you. Not one more moment says, don't mutilate God's greatest creation. Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. And thank you for that. Not one more innocent. Okay. I've been live here for a very, very productive hour and almost an hour and 15 minutes. I am going to be in San Francisco, Bay Area, with the Bloodstained Men road crew. We are a nationwide protest movement that tours the nation. We've been doing this since 2012. We actually, the first Bloodstained Men protest occurred in San Francisco in November 2012. I did that solo in San Francisco. And then 7 or 8, 9, 10 people joined me in Sacramento in December of the same year, December of 2012. We protested, Bloodstained Men and women, at the state capitol in Sacramento. And we became a nonprofit in 2014. And we've now protested in 700, possibly 800 cities. There's such a long list of them. It's so hard to sit there and just count them. It's like the old song where 100 bottles of beer on the wall. I don't think anyone ever got below 90 bottles of beer on the wall, 89 bottles. So it's like trying to count how many Bloodstained Men protests there have been. Someone will do it someday, but I just I don't have the patience. I have the time because it could probably be done in half an hour, but I just don't have the patience to count like that long. But we're adding all these additional protests it's in the San Francisco Bay Area starting, and I invite all of you to join us. We're going to have a road crew. This is going to be our biggest road crew ever. We're going to be in the San Francisco Bay Area from February 3rd through February 9, and we're going to have 2 protests a day for most of those days, with the exception of a few days. I'll read it to you in a second. But we have our biggest road crew ever for this tour, for the Super Bowl Circumcision Crisis protest tour. We have a road crew of 16 men and women. By my count, it's 13 at last count. I mean, it might even grow even more between now and then, but at last count, it's 13 men and 3 women for 16 of us. Let's see here. There's a new comment here. Connor says circumcision is I'm not sure what you mean by round upon. Oh, frowned. You must mean frowned upon. Yeah, that's probably what you. The rate is very low today. Yeah. Canada. I'm real. When I started in the early 1980s, there were men in Canada working on this problem, and they did a lot. And one was an insurance adjuster. He was keeping statistics. So there have been enlightened Canadians working on this problem. So Connor reports that the circumcision rate in Canada is that's great news. That's great news. I know it's higher in some provinces, Connor. Okay, you did correct yourself. Yeah, frown. Scott, thank you, Scott, thank you. I really, it keeps me inspired, motivated, and very, very grateful for all of you to get your thanks and gratitude, because this is hard work. It's hard work. But I never even contemplate. I mean, I live and breathe in tactivism now, and even more so with Carol Ann dead, because this cause was near and dear to her heart. So it's not that I'm more motivated after she died, but it's like I'm representing Carol too. I'm representing 2 people now. So I live and breathe in tactivism. This is a social reform movement, and I know my years are limited. I told you, I plan on living another 22 years, healthy. But at my age, nothing's guaranteed. But I wake up every day. What can I do today? How can I get this job done today? And we are reaching millions of people on social media, ladies and gentlemen, millions. YouTube is tough. The algorithm on YouTube is tough for our movement. I don't know why, but it is tough. But Instagram, TikTok, the Meta platforms, Facebook, Twitter X is a tough platform for intactivism. But so I suggest if you really want to reach as many people as possible, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. That's my lived experience. Last month on Facebook, I have 3 main accounts that I admin, that I started and admin. Bloodstained Men and Their Friends reached 9 million people on Facebook last month. My personal profile on Facebook, Brother K, I reached 4 million people last month. And my Instagram, no, Instagram is separate. I have a community page on Facebook also, which has the same name, Brother K, but it's like a page and not my profile. And that reached, I don't want to inflate numbers, but it was multi-millions of people. on my Brother K page. I know it was at least 5 million. I think it was more, significantly more, but I didn't write those figures down. And it's all the pressure's on when you start reaching millions of people on Facebook, but the pressure to keep doing it is enormous. And then on Instagram last month, again, 4 million, but I know it was minimum of 4 million. I sent some of these figures to one of my friends, but we're reaching many, many millions of people on the Meta products, Instagram and Facebook, and you can too. You really can. Just keep at it. Make good, thoughtful, powerful posts. You can't post genitals. You cannot post circumcision. The way I'm posting circumcision videos, what I realized years ago was that you can't post the genitals, which shows the gruesome destruction of the penis. But you can post the face, the tears, the screams, and those are powerful videos. Lily the Valley, the Christian Intactivists, some of my best friends are the Christian Intactivists. I love the Christian Intactivists. Oh, I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. And some of our best friends are the Christian Intactivists, and they come out and protest with us as well. Lucas is an intactivist from Brazil. Do you receive support from intactivists outside? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We just got a $200 donation from a man in Israel. And a couple of other Israelis who have donated to Bloodstained Men. And there was a Bloodstained Man in Tel Aviv for the longest time. I haven't seen him active lately. He's getting older now. But Alon Sivrani, I just posted him the other day. A lot of these videos I'm talking about, you can see on my channel here when this is over. And I think Alon, I think I did there's a woman that comes up and tells Alon he's lucky they don't hang him or stone him to death. Okay, great. Jessica said, yeah, Jessica's had some viral posts. Yeah, if you want to mail me, you can mail me at Brother K, Post Office Box 73469. I'll say it slower so you get time to get your ink pen. P.O. Box 73469, Davis, California, 95617. You can mail me there. And if you enclose a self-addressed stamped envelope in your letter, I'll send you, I think one stamp covers 7. We have heavy-duty information cards. I'll send you 7 information cards if you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. It's got to be stamped. But I've got a stack of information cards. I'll send you 7 of them, which is all the postage covers. That's Post Office Box 73469, Davis, California, 95617. Oh, okay, yeah, Jessica said, yeah, 95617. And Jessica, if you put 2 stamps on it, I can put more info cards on it because I think you get, and they'll fit. I think I can. I don't want to promise that the second stamp covers 10 additional cards, but I believe it does. I'll go in and double check on that. So if you put 2 stamps on that self-addressed stamped envelope, I can send you probably 15 info cards. All things new is I'm leaving America to get away from. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. Yeah. Not one more innocent has written it in the comments. P.O. Box 73469, Davis, California. Yeah. Paul Rocky. Hello, Paul. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the support, encouragement. As I was saying earlier, all of us thrive on positive reinforcement. And so thank you. Thank you. I do too. I do too. And just being an intactivist with a group of committed men and women, not just around the nation, but around the world, inspires and motivates me. It's positive reinforcement just to be an intactivist. And of course, the people that are against us, they know that so well. That's why they come on and they curse us out. They report our posts. They slander us, vile slander. And they bait us. They try to get us banned. They try to get us banned from social media. So don't take their bait. Honestly, I first saw this in Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens referred to his critics as insects buzzing. So I generally don't characterize human beings like that, but I saw Charles Dickens. He was so angry, his petty, trifling little critics. He said they're nothing more than insects buzzing. The people who are attacking us and with all their games and their tricks, their curses, and seriously, in terms of their effectiveness and power, they're insects buzzing. They're helpless. So don't give them the power by bothering with them. Ignore them. Ignore them. Block them, but don't respond to them because they're looking for any way to report you and get you banned so that you're out of the game. You're off the social media. And then they've won. They've won that particular battle. They view it as a battle of wills. They're not going to give up. Most of them have circumcised their own children, or they are circumcised, or they come from circumcised families. So they have huge psychological mechanisms to like attack intactivism, like we're their enemies. Well, they made themselves into our adversaries with all their cheap tricks, their duplicity, their lies, their distortions, and their curses. They have no science and they know it. Master Minos says, keep up the amazing work. We will not give. Thank you. We refuse to stop. Absolutely. I said, when I get up in the morning, it's like full speed ahead. I go to sleep only to recharge myself for more intactivism. But I'm retired. So look, I understand people that can't do this all day long, but I can. So I'm representing you as well. So, and what I've always told intactivists is, don't let your intactivism interfere with your personal life, with your family, with your job, your career. We need you healthy and happy at home. But intactivism, honestly, this is a fantastically rewarding endeavor. Psychologically, when you think about it, when I first saw the Bloodstained Men symbol that Jonathan Conte brought 7 suits to New Orleans in October 2012, James Lowen interviewed me the next day. We were still in New Orleans. I didn't come up with the bloodstained suit. I had just put it on the day before. We were still in New Orleans. James Lowen interviewed me, and I said to James Lowen, this is the most powerful protest symbol in human history. I've never seen a protest symbol that is so identical to what is being protested. In our case, you have a blood stain over the pants, over the very wound beneath the pants that it is protesting. There's nothing like it, ladies and gentlemen. It is a symbol of genius. And Richard Dunker, who invented the bloodstain in the UK, in London, I talked to him. He's very humble about it. He said it evolved in his mind from the original genital integrity man, which was just a little man with his arms outstretched and a little peace symbol on his crotch. And so if you think about it, you can see how there's a leap of the imagination in every step. but the most powerful protest symbol in human history, because we are up against the most wicked institution in human history. So it's fitting that we have the most powerful protest symbol against the most wicked institution in human history, the genital mutilation of our own sons, of our own flesh and blood. Our sons, and in the cultures that circumcise girls. And that's why women can wear the bloodstain with all the same pride and force and power and representing the children as men do. Because women who wear the bloodstain are representing their brothers, their fathers, their sons, but they're also representing women who are circumcised in other nations and secretly in the United States. I know it's still happening. There's no doubt about it. They are circumcising girls in the United States right as we speak. Lucas, I don't know about shipping Bloodstained Men products international. We don't have any products really. I'm just offering this as a service. If you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope that will cover 1 ounce sent from the United States, I'll send it back to you with with 7 Bloodstained Men cards in it. But we tried. Some of our members tried a store a number of years ago, and that just did not work. A store in theory is good, but we're all volunteers, and all the volunteers with Bloodstained Men, with the exception of me and maybe 1 or 2 others, but I'm retired. But we're volunteers. They have jobs, they have families, they have and that's what I was saying. If you're an intactivist, do what you can, but don't feel guilty when you're not out there doing intactivism. I took a long time off from intactivism to raise my own daughter. It's important to keep that balance between this vital social reform movement and your own life. Someone told me I had to choose between them or intact. I'm still here. Yeah. Keep going. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Keep going until you're 120 years old. Yeah. Well, I still feel young and healthy, Paul. I do, which is why for me, right now, I'm 78 years old. In 12 years, I'll be 90. That's sort of like a way station for me. But it's just, it's like kind of like the halfway mark to 100, which is my goal. And right now, I feel like, halfway to my goal is well within my reach. Now, when you hit 90, Father Time might want to pull you aside and have a few words with you. But so far, Father Time hasn't really had much to say to me, other than the normal bitching Father Time does. But you can never satisfy that guy. Thank you, Lucas. Lucas says Carol Ann is our angel. Thank you so much. And she's mine too. She's mine too, Paul. She's mine too. Or Lucas, sorry. She's mine too. I dedicate all my work to Carol Ann now. And I said, I don't know if I'm actually working harder now. I feel like I am since she died. But I'm representing 2 of us now. Thank you, Lucas. Carol Ann is the hero and the face of Bloodstained Men. Thank you. Yeah, Backpack Matt says, that's a mouthful. Backpack Matt. Try to say that fast. Sounds like a machine gun. Backpack Matt. Sounds like a machine gun, Matt. That's great. Got to say it slower. Backpack Matt. Okay, it says, intactivists have the truth on our side, and all pro-circumcision peeps have is myths and memes. Yeah, and lies. They're liars. Matt, they are fucking liars. Everything they say in favor of circumcision is a lie. There's only one truth about circumcision. It injures the man's penis for life. That's the only true thing that you can say about circumcision, or as an umbrella to cover all the bullshit, or all the true things. Every excuse for circumcision is a lie. That's the top of the circumcision excuse pyramid. Everything they say about circumcision is a lie, period. Let me change the port for this. Okay. So I think I've addressed most of the comments, and then I'll talk about Wilson. Hello, Wilson. Sixth Society. See you in San Francisco. That's fantastic, David. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Lily. I need all the love I can get, honestly. And all of us do. All of us do. Andrew says, I'm afraid of getting arrested for protesting. I see, yeah. You know, here's the thing. I don't recommend protesting alone. I'm not going to protest alone. I mean, I did it when I was still young, and well, I mean, I didn't. Caroline and I protested together in 1980. But when I protested alone at the beginning of Bloodstained, it's because people were afraid of wearing the Bloodstained. But once they saw me doing it and getting so much support, this was in 2012. Once they saw me doing it and getting so much support from, it was a convention of deans of medical colleges in San Francisco. I protested alone, and some of the deans came out and shook my hand, took my picture, and thanked me for doing it. And when other intactivists saw the positive results, the Bloodstained men took off, and we became a nonprofit in 2014. But I would not protest. It's not that I'm against protesting alone. It's just, it's so hard psychologically, and physically it can present some challenges. It's not necessarily that in broad daylight someone's going to beat you up. I know Gary in New York State has done some protests alone. He's been harassed by the cops, but I mean, it takes balls to protest, but it takes balls just to go to a Bloodstained Men protest. A lot of people, when they've said, I've never protested anything before, I'm nervous. And I said, look, this issue is too important to be nervous. And they protest with us for 5 or 10 minutes, and they feel like a veteran, like an old hand. But yeah, Andrew, don't protest alone. Eric Anderson, hello, Eric. Be a drop in the wave, push, 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 flood. Yeah, exactly. Eric Anderson, who is working overtime to challenge a circumcision. I believe you're challenged it in several ways, but I think you're trying to get a court case going or get some politicians. that guy that attacked us at the Berkeley protest got arrested. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that one because there's been several incidents in Berkeley over the years, but I don't think you were at the one I'm thinking of. Buy a body cam. Yeah, Gary, who protests alone, solo, in New York State, innocent, not one more innocent here, recommends get a body cam. Yeah. And actually, innocent also does wear a body cam. So here's the Super Bowl schedule, because I am going to wrap this up. I've been going for an hour and 40 minutes now. So here's the schedule, ladies and gentlemen. 2026 Super Bowl circumcision crisis protests in the San Francisco Bay Area. We have a road crew of 16 people. You can come out, join us, spend as much as, and this is on our website, bloodstainedmen.com. It's the drop-down menu on the right. I'm looking at it right now. The event page, drop-down menu on the right on bloodstainedmen.com. February 3rd through February 9. Day 1, Tuesday, February 3rd. We have 2 protests that day. This is Tuesday, February 3rd, from 10 to noon in Pittsburgh, California. And then we take a couple hours off to get to the next location, have lunch, which we will be in Walnut Creek in the afternoon, Tuesday, February 3rd, from 2 to 4 p.m. Day 2, Wednesday, February 4th, we will be in Berkeley from 10 to 3. Now, we're going to have 2 locations in Berkeley, but we're going to be moving from location 1 to location 2. And I'm going to have to talk to our webmaster. He hasn't put that up yet, but location 1 in Berkeley at 10 a.m. is going to be the intersection of Shattuck and University Avenue at 10 a.m. And then at roughly 11:30. So we'll be out there on University Avenue is the big highway, really, well, major road through Berkeley that goes from the interstate to the foot of campus. University Avenue. We'll be at University in Shattuck. That's near the BART station there in downtown Berkeley, from 10 a.m. to about 11:30. Then we're going to walk. We're going to walk to Sproul Plaza, which is the free speech plaza there, the historic free speech plaza at UC Berkeley. And Carol Ann and I used to hang out there and talk to people back in the early 70s. It was a happening place. I don't know about now. It's where Telegraph Avenue ends, and Telegraph Avenue, it was very, very interesting back in those days too. And again, not living there, I don't know if, the local culture of Berkeley anymore. But Carol Ann and I had many, many productive and happy times together at Sproul Plaza at UC Berkeley in the 70s. We lived there from 1970 to 1974. But so that's Wednesday, February 4th. We will be at Sproul Plaza from noon to 3 p.m. Sproul Plaza, UC Berkeley, from noon to 3 p.m. Day 3, Thursday, February 5th, we will be in San Francisco. We have 2 locations in San Francisco that day. From 10 to noon, we will be at the intersection of Geary Boulevard and Park Presidio Boulevard in San Francisco. And then we take a couple hours off to get to the next location, have lunch. That's Thursday, February 5th. We will be at the Golden Gate Bridge from 2 to 4 p.m. So, we're looking for some great video opportunities at the Golden Gate Bridge. I haven't decided about what kind of lives to do, because I've noticed on social media that what is really working on social media for solitary posts that literally get millions of views, Bloodstained Men posts, are videos 15 to 30 seconds that I mute. I mute the sound, I slow them down, put them in slow motion, very artistic, of the bloodstain, of the signs and the bloodstains, of the pedestrians, the motorists, the whole street scene, but slowed down. Like, life goes so fast. Even when when you yourself going through your daily life, you know how fast everything is just moving around you. But those are the videos I'm posting on social media. Like the one I posted of Bloodstained Men at our billboard in Lake Charles last year. It got 10 million views on my Instagram. There's no live broadcast that's going to get you 10 million views. And it's the same for my TikTok posts. I have a couple of million plus posts on TikTok. I don't have them all pinned because I have some others pinned. But but it's always the Bloodstained Men, the vignettes of Bloodstained Men. So it's made me rethink this whole live broadcast thing. But I'm happy to do these live broadcasts here at home, and I think this is very productive. And we've got a lot of people that have been tuning in, good engagement, good comments, and so and the other nice thing is that the format allows for a high quality download from YouTube that then if there's some gems out of this live broadcast, and please feel free to take any bit of this live broadcast and break it up, post it however you want. You can even mute me and add some music, but put it in slow-mo. But the point is that social media and the tools available now there's room for artistic expression. And that seems to really work on social media. When you do something that's different but unique. I mean, Bloodstained Men wasn't always, will be unique. So we have unique opportunities for video. And that's what I'm going to really focus on, not just the Golden Gate Bridge. That's how I got talking about this, but for this whole tour, this whole upcoming tour. So I'll probably talk it over with the crew, but I'm not going to be doing as many lives as I have been doing. It's just because, just judging by how many people our single videos are reaching, you go where the people are, and that's on not on the lives. The TikTok lives for a while, it was doing very well, but then they deleted my original account, no explanation. They just deleted it. But even with that account, I was reaching a couple 100,000 people an hour of live broadcasts. But that's exhausting, and I don't know how productive it is compared to this new insight I have into the best way to use Bloodstained Men protests for content creation. And maybe you have some ideas. You can take anything from Bloodstained Men footage anywhere and do anything you want with it. Let's see, we got some more comments here. Oh, yeah. Not one more innocent says live streams of protests run too much risk of getting banned. Yeah, they do get TikTok particularly, Facebook, and I've never gone live on Instagram. I think I tried to a couple of years ago, and it wasn't available, but maybe it is now. I think I saw something that's available now. I see there's a conversation going on about Lucas. Email me and I'll send you the links to some video. And if this is available, I'm assuming that these comments will be available in the live broadcast that's saved to YouTube. I will also post those links. Lucas says, can you tell the story of when you were arrested? It's going to take me a few minutes to find that on the internet, or in our archives. I have it, but let's see here. All Things New says, All Things New, you'll have to go back and look at earlier in this broadcast. I did address the whole thing of trying to recreate a foreskin and connect it. And the problem that theory runs into is the amputation, the severing of the nerves from the penis to the brain. Those nerves, there's nothing to connect. You cannot connect them. You cannot reconnect them. So you could come up with this brilliant facsimile of a foreskin. You're not going to have any place to connect it. They can hem and haw, they can bluff and brag and throw out their chest. Oh, yeah, we'll figure that out when they're full of shit. Once those nerves are destroyed and circumcision destroys them in the spinal cord, the connection between the penis and the brain is severed. And you ain't tapping back into that connection, bro. I don't care what slick salesman, what slick, fast-talking salesman says. You ain't reconnecting that puppy. Ain't going to happen. So I hate to see people, I hate to dash hopes, but the biggest hope, improve your body by foreskin restoration, manual tugging or device, and fight back. Fighting back is the best revenge in life, in all things. Fight back. That will help. And realize that this is the hand that our generation was dealt. And it's our job as men and women to fucking deal with it. In the early 70s, I said to Carol Ann, people are protesting everything. We just grown up in the protest generation. People are protesting everything. How comes no one's protesting circumcision? And after a couple of years of that, I thought, well, fuck it. I got to do it. I can't wait for someone else to do it. I got to do it. So you can do it too. You can do it, and you'll figure out a way to do it. But I'm not going to lie to people. I'm not going to bullshit people. You're not going to be able to transplant a foreskin onto your penis. You're just not. I'm sorry. If I thought there was any possibility, I talked at length about this earlier in this broadcast. If you want to hear everything I said, you're going to have to go back and watch the broadcast. I wish I could say something different, but I can't. I don't bullshit. I don't bullshit anyone about anything. I don't talk about it a lot because, it's not my job to take people's hope away. But go to earlier in this broadcast, maybe 15 minutes to a half hour into it. I talked at length about that issue. Andrew says, I heard some people need to get circumcised if their foreskin is too tight. No. You can go to doctorsopposingcircumcision.org and you'll see they have a section under for physicians, conservative treatment, and they discuss the whole thing. Basically, circumcision is not called, maybe 1 in 25,000. But European men are intact. They don't get circumcised for so-called phimosis. And I have to tell you, phimosis in American men is probably, in my experience, most often connected to being forcibly, scar tissue from being forcibly retracted as a newborn boy. There are some of these fucking nurses, the boy comes out The umbilical cord is still attached. They retract his foreskin. They rip it loose. Okay. All right, back to the trying to make sure I get all the comments. Let's see, where Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, so the Golden Gate Bridge is going to be an incredible opportunity for some powerful, dramatic video. But the whole tour will be. I'm just, it should seem like a no-brainer, but things aren't as obvious until you have the insight. And I'm realizing that the Bloodstained Men protests are like a treasure trove for content creation. And that doesn't necessarily mean hearing men shouting, "Stop circumcision." The visual is the message. Most people passing by don't hear us. So for Bloodstained Men protests, the visual is the message. The bloodstain, the signs. We've got 16 men on our and women on our road crew, and we're going to have some locals coming out and joining us too. And if you live locally or if you can travel, you have some friends in the Bay Area, come on and join us. We're maxed out on the road crew right now, or we'd offer you a place to stay, but we are maxed out with 16 people, you can imagine. Okay, that was the Golden Gate Bridge. All right, so day 4 is Friday, February 6th. That's the beginning of Super Bowl weekend, really. And we're going to be at the Ferry Building, which is located from 10:30 in the morning until 6 at night. That's going to be a long day. Friday, February 6th, 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to be at the Embarcadero, the intersection of the Embarcadero and Market Street. And this is all on our website, bloodstainedmen.com, drop-down menu on the right. That's the Ferry Building. And that's a powerful location. It's just, and on Super Bowl Friday, it's just going to be packed. The next day is going to be day 5 of the 7-day tour, Saturday, February 7th. And again, that's going to be a long day at the Moscone Center from 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. The World Naked Bike Ride is supporting us and putting brochures up all around San Francisco. They're going to stop by and lend their support. They're going to be having one of their regular bike rides from the Ferry Building to City Hall, and then I think they go on further to Ocean Beach or something. But at any rate, we're going to have a bunch of naked people on bicycles joining us, which is going to be pretty interesting. But they're actually going to City Hall, and I think the theme of their, maybe it's always their theme, but I know for this particular ride, their theme at City Hall is bodily autonomy. So they were very happy to hear Bloodstained Men is coming to town, and they wrote us wanting to put our name on their advertisement, which is now on lamp poles and bulletin boards all throughout San Francisco. That'll be Saturday, February 7th. The next day is the Super Bowl. That's day 6 of this tour. Day 6 of 7, Sunday, February 8th. And the Super Bowl, the kickoff time is 3:30 Pacific time, which is 6:30 on the East Coast. So people wonder why we knock off at 3:30 p.m. We may hang around for a little bit after 3:30 p.m., but essentially the street the last Super Bowl in San Francisco was 10 years ago, and I was there, and at 3:30 the street was just empty because the tens of thousands of people going into the stadium are in the stadium for the kickoff, and the streets are empty. So, but that's going to be an exciting day. So we'll be outside the 49er Stadium from 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on Super Bowl Sunday, and the stadium is located in Santa Clara, California, at Marie Bartolo. That's the family that owns the 49ers, or used to. I don't know if they still do, but that's and Tasman Avenue in Santa Clara. Bloodstained Men. That's the big one, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to be a really interesting time. I'm looking forward to it with 16 road crew, and hopefully we get a good turnout from the good intactivists in the San Francisco Bay Area. Day Brenny girl. Thank you, Brenny. Thank you. I won't be able to attend, but my heart will be there with all of. Thank you, Candy. Okay, wonderful, 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 Candy. Candy from Facebook. Wonderful. So the final day, the day after Sunday, the day after the Super Bowl, day 7 of 7, Monday, February 9, we're going to have 2 protests in San Francisco on our final day. 10 to noon will be Octavia Boulevard and Market Street. And I believe we're there because that's one of the busiest intersections in San Francisco. That'll be 10 to noon. Then we'll take a couple hours off for lunch and to move to our new location, which will be Holloway Avenue and 19th Ave, which is right outside San Francisco State University. That will be 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And that will be Monday, February 9th. That will be the final protest of the Super Bowl Circumcision Crisis Protest Tour. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's 4:02 here in Davis, California. It's been really, really fun being with you here, and thank you so much for all the support, all your comments, your kind comments, your informative comments, your engagement. Okay, so Backpack Matt says, I'll be watching from the Midwest. Okay, so it's not my friend on the road crew, Matt. I probably have met you, Matt, then. But, and Matt, Backpack, I don't know the exact schedule yet, but we will be roughly in the Midwest on our summer tour. That will be, that's in planning right now, but you can take that to the bank. We'll be there. Roughly the last 10 days of July, with perhaps a few days spillover into August of this year, this summer. When I say roughly the Midwest, it's going to be in the Mississippi River Valley. I'm not sure how far north it starts and how far south we go, but I believe our planner mentioned Missouri. So you can look at the map, and I'm sure you're familiar with being there in the Midwest. Like I said, David Atkinson, our planner, is going to figure that whole thing out. But it's not going to be like in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and I don't think Iowa. It's going to be further down the Mississippi River Valley. But keep your eye on our events tab on our website, bloodstainedmen.com, Matt, because we will be there this summer. Sergeant says the parents turning their kids away. Repeat Google elephant in the hospital a few times. Oh, to get the children to look it up. That's a good idea. What he's referring to, what Sergeant is referring to, is when kids ask their parents questions when they see a Bloodstained Men protest. Either they're walking by the protest with their parents, or they're in the car with their parents. And worst of all, for the parents who are squirming in their seats for the green light so they can get the hell out of there. Their kids are just like boing, looking at, asking their parents, what the hell is this? And some parents, there's been a few parents over the years, they actually grab their kid's head and slam it down, or, push it down. They push, or they cover their kids' eyes. They don't want their kids to see a Bloodstained Men protest. They don't want to have to answer the questions. That's how disgusting it is, how hidden it is. The secret wound. They don't want their kids to know they did it. They did it. And when their daughter grows up, mom's going to tell her daughter, oh, you got to circumcise my grandson. Or when the boy grows up, mom says, oh, well, we circumcised you for health reasons. But she doesn't want to have to answer the visceral questions at that moment when those kids see the bloodstained men and women out there in our bloodstains with our signs. They don't want to have to deal with it. And so in some cases, I think some have even run the red light to get out of there. Yeah. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I'm going to do this again. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. And in activists who suffers from social anxiety, which most likely was caused by, yeah, that's a very common feeling. My grandson just turned 2 a month ago, and he is so happy and healthy. My daughter told me to tell. Oh, thank you, Candy. I think you said you were Candy. Awakening me to awaken her. Oh, thank you, Candy. I remember you mentioned once that the stress for the baby didn't exist. Correct, right? Correct. Yeah. A nurse held me down. She stood at my head. This was the common. They didn't even have circumcision boards when I was born. So, so the traditional way, and you'll see this in some of the barbaric native circumcisions, and even some of the others where they don't use a circumcision board. You're lying down, of course. Think of someone leaning over you, and they bring their hand. They bring their hands down, and they use the backs of their arms. Think as I'm doing this. Let me back up a little bit. Let me see if I can use this. This has been my all-purpose circumcision exhibit. But think of the little baby lying here. There's no arm, but they bring their. So this is. Let's see. It would be the closest to me, right? Yeah. So this is the baby's head. So here's the right arm, the right leg, the left arm, the left leg. So what they do is they lean over. They're at your head. This is the baby's head. They lean over, and with the back of each arm, they pin the baby's arms down with the back of their arm. This is what was done to me. They pin your arms down, and then, now this is long enough to do this with, but then their hands grip the baby's ankles or over the shins, or grip the baby's ankles or shins. So it's a 4-point restraint using the adult's 2 limbs. The back of your arm to hold down the baby's arm, and then the rest of your arm and gripping the baby's shin to hold down their legs. And it's effective. It works. It works. And those babies fight hard, but there's no escape, obviously. They fight hard. Thank you, Lucas. Jessica, thank you for being here with your, it is, Not One Moment says it's gang grape. Yeah, and I don't know if taking the G off the grape would get you a ban or not, but yeah, I've adopted that, not using the R word, but saying grape. But he's totally right. It's grape of the worst sort. It's grape and mutilation. Because the first step of every circumcision is literally to shove a tool into the baby's penis. Grape with an instrument. Good. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt in the Midwest. Yeah. XJY3, yeah, who would do that? And XJ, the reason why there aren't more intactivists is, honestly, this is a very demoralizing issue. It demoralizes you. It shows you the utter corruption, ignorance, cruelty, apathy of society, of the very communities we live in. Because this is happening in all our communities. Circumcision, the genital mutilation of newborn boys, is a national tragedy. It's a national crisis, and it brings out the worst in human nature, which at the best is just apathy. At the worst, it's adding your own voice to the call to circumcise boys. It's just a sick tragedy all around. Depravity says innocent. All right, so I want to make sure I've got all the comments covered before I sign off. But I really do have to sign off. I got some other things I have to do. And if you follow me on social media, you know that I've got a queue of 10 videos that I'd like to get up today, and I won't even get half of those put up. And I start the day off, and I know that I won't get done what I need to get done, what I want to get done, what I wish I could get done. It's just, there's just not time enough to get it all done. So I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow and the day after. I'll be back every damn day. The circumcision bastards don't take a day off. Neither do I. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you on the internet. Wherever you hang out on the internet, you'll see me and help out. We can get this. We're winning. We're winning. We have the truth. We have science. We have parental love. We have the world medical community on our side. What's the circumcision industry have? Nothing. Nothing but bullshit, bluff, and lies. That's it. That's it. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time.